Disappointing game. Bunch of chances to win the game. Really on offense twice. We have the ball in 4 or 5 minutes and give it back to them. Then they go down and score on us. They throw a back shoulder fade into 2 minute. Into two man, which I've never seen in my life. It's a dead play, and the corner doesn't make the play, and the safety runs out of bounds, and so they score a touchdown. So and we have another chance, and ball's going down about the 6 or 7. We drop the ball. We're going to have 3 seconds and one play to score and go for 2 and win the game. So tough one to swallow. We did play better at times defensively. We did run the ball for 280 yards. The first turnover killed us. We got no turnovers the other way. So tough game. Should have won that game.
John starts off.
Lane, what do you kind of see your team going from here after these last couple of games? How do you want to kind of see them progress going into this weekend?
Just get better. We have in some areas. I think we're running the ball more consistent. And we're playing a little bit better defense. So we just need to continue to put it all together. Or not continue. We need to put it all together, which we still have not. We came closer this week, but didn't finish it out. That would have been a great win.
Go to Parrish.
Lane, is the muff kickoff a play that you'll send to the SEC for review, and do you see value in that procedure?
Well, I was late to this because I was on the phone with John McDade in the SEC, and so I've really struggled with this a lot, and so I just had the conversation with him. He called to explain what happened. I really wish for our players, for our fans, that they could hear what I was just told. I think they deserve to, but, I asked. They made sure to tell me there's a policy that I can't tell you, the players or the fans, what their, if you want to call it, explanation for that situation and how the TV copy, everybody in the country can see it hit them. And I asked the side judge, why aren't they replaying it? Do I need a challenge? And he said they've already looked at it. There's nothing there. So I'm not allowed to say anything about the conversation, but I really wish that our fans and players could hear what I was told.
You've talked about this.
I've had to take about a 5-minute power yoga class before I walked in here and said what I really want to. Because you know what I'd really like? I'd really like when you guys ask me questions about managing a game or how I play players, just say, well, that's a personal thing, and I can't discuss it with you. I would really like to be able to answer those questions like that.
What's the mindset of your guys? You've talked how difficult this particular loss was. How do they get over that? How do you help them through that this week?
Well, we pointed out this morning, good, bad, ugly, on the tape that I do for them and show them. There's some times that, I feel like we turned down some hits. Didn't block as well as we should receiver-wise on the perimeter. Didn't cover as hard in some special teams. And so, our job was here to come here and fix that. And so when you see some plays that look like what you'd seen on film before, you get frustrated. So, and it was, the DK Metcalf clip, we ended with that, which was really good timing to show, all right, hey, here's us not finishing plays, and look at this guy. This is unbelievable. So, I hope maybe that helped.
Yeah, go ahead.
Lane, do you think there are any chances that you can get guys like Tisdale Hawkins and Leonard back this week, or is the timing still a little low?
Can I just answer? We don't discuss. I'm going to just answer every question from now on. We that's internal. We don't discuss anything, and I don't have any explanation for how I screwed up a situation. It'd be awesome. Can we write that policy? ask our SID if we can write that policy from now on. All right, I gotta stop going on that before I get fined. So, yeah, I would. We usually don't discuss that, but yeah, those guys are back.
David, go ahead.
Which back to another thing. You know, we've got 2 starting defensive players that are 13 days out when we play Saturday. Obviously, would have helped us, and no symptoms, no positives, and they can't play. You know, but if you had it 10 days ago yourself, you could have played. So I've told you all along I don't understand that, and why players are sitting out symptom-free 13 days after a close contact, you know, not being able to play in the game. And we're sitting here in a game playing 2 players that were on offense in crunch time on defense a week after being on offense. So,
David, go ahead.
Yeah, Lane, I just wanted to ask you about the loss of Jalen Jones, an experienced guy like that, a leader, Chucky Mullins guy. You know what? We kind of saw some of the effect on the field Saturday that his absence had. But what are the intangibles of losing a guy like that at this point of the season?
well, a very difficult loss. Great kid, played 1 million snaps for us, and we just, between him, between some injuries, between close contact shutdowns, it's just it's rough because I know everybody's got issues, but I don't know if they got them that bad. We're trying to beat Auburn in a huge game, big program win for us, and they're driving down, and we got 2 players that were on offense last week, trying to get calls that were trying to yell from the sidelines to tell them what to do, like you're, coaching 10-year-olds or something, so.
Have you, I'm sorry,
Go
have
ahead.
you had any conversations with Jalen about coming back next year?
I have not yet. We'll get to that. I think this will be a unique year because you're going to have those conversations with all your seniors.
Yeah, I also wanted to ask you, you said a couple of times against Auburn you would have went for 2. Just curious about your thought process instead of playing for overtime in that game.
I just thought, usually you're slight underdog. Usually if you're underdog, you say go for 2, but I just felt if we have a shot to win with our offense, versus their defense in one play, to win the game, especially after all the momentum we would have had scoring there, I would have done that. That's all. That's decided before the game in our meetings before the game.
Nate, go ahead.
Coach, you just briefly touched on kind of the play of Miles Battle, Tylen Knight, those guys. After looking at the film, what do you see from them kind of in those limited snaps?
Well, when I said like coaching Little League, make sure you understand what I meant. That's nothing to do with them. That's literally like when you're in Little League, you got to yell at the kid what to do because we just moved them over there, and we're in 2 minute, which means you got a lot of different calls that are happening really fast. And so, I was just thinking how crazy it was. I'm sitting there listening to our coaches having to yell, play press, blitz, play off, like, but that's the situation you're in. I thought they did a great job, for a little amount of time, and it's hard. Think how hard that is, so they're doing their best.
Go back to John.
Lane, when you look at a matchup with a team like Vanderbilt, and also considering the fact that once Saturday rolls around, they will not have played football in 3 weeks. I mean, how much of an advantage is it for you guys, and how do you kind of approach a certain situation like that if there is a certain different one?
Well, it's kind of dangerous, less games of us to watch on them. I believe they've had some COVID issues where it sounds like now they're getting back from them. And the players that were banged up are all coming back. So I don't know that it's a great advantage. A lot of people would like to have back-to-back buys.
Parrish, go ahead.
On the 3 weeks off, Lane, do you think that is a disadvantage for a freshman quarterback to have been away from game speed that long, or could that work in his favor?
Well, I hope in general it works in our favor, obviously, but us being tempo, it's hard to simulate in practice. I know that's like the other side of your question, but I'm hoping the time off helps us because we're tempo and them not getting used to seeing it, and they don't do a lot of it on offense. So I'm not sure about the development of the quarterback, and it's less games he's played, but also he's had a lot of time to practice and get ready for us.
what's your opinion of the production you're getting from Snoop and Jerrion as kind of tandem running backs there?
Good. If we would have finished the 4-minute thing off like we would like to have, and went down and scored or, ran the clock out that whole time, we'd have been looking at, over 300 yards rushing against Auburn. So I would have taken it at the beginning of the year if you'd told me we were running the ball for 270, 280 yards versus Alabama and Auburn. I would have thought we'd be doing pretty good.
Do their personalities allow them to mesh well as in sharing the snaps?
They do. Talented kids that came in together and really get along together, work really hard, very different personalities, but they do a great job together. And Kevin Smith does a really good job with those guys.
Go back to Nate.
Yeah, Coach, I guess the last 2 weeks when people have been dropping more into coverage against you guys, running game, especially this past week's working well, but there's like very few deep shots. It seems like that was something you guys really wanted to do those first few weeks. Are you content with that, or is that something you guys have to kind of try find a way to create these next few weeks?
Well, you got to run them out of it. Like we said, after, Arkansas, these guys make a lot of money for a reason in this conference, and they're really good coaches, and they copy, and so came out in the first quarter, they ran exactly Arkansas's defense, which they hadn't done before. And so I'd like to think we ran them out of it by the success running the ball and got them to change a little bit. And so when they do that, there's no shots to take, and you got to be patient, which I don't think we did a great job of 2 weeks ago. We did a much better job last week, and he did have one that he got a PI on, so that explosive play, and took another one, but they were deep. He kind of forced it. He could have checked the ball down to the back, for 10 yards, and so we did hit the tight end up the seam, but no, they're not giving us the same ones, that they were early on.
Go ahead, Nick.
Lane, you talk about finishing plays and finishing games and the DK Metcalf play and all. In your experience, have you ever coached a team in mid-season? And if so, kind of how do players learn that skill?
I'm sorry, have I ever coached what in midseason?
Have you ever coached a team that learned finishing mid-season?
Yeah, I was thinking about it. Our first year as assistant with Pete Carroll at USC, we started, 1-5 or 2-5, I think, and then won like the last 5 games of the season in the first year. Kind of set that off into, a great run of after that 6 straight years of coach going to BCS games, I think it was, or something. So, they just came together. We were playing a lot of young players on defense at that time, and then the last half of the season just started playing better. So, this team could do this. This team could go on a great run here, in these next 5 games. We just got to put it together and get better.